Okay, this video is about Demosthenes. We're doing quotes from the book Holy Grail of Wisdom, quotes by me, Pete Rogers. Demosthenes was a great orator from Athens. He lived from 384 to 322 BC. When he was a young man, his inheritance from his parents' death got sort of stolen from him. So he had to speak in court. And at first he failed miserably. Then he decided to train himself to be a better orator so that he'd be able to speak up for his rights and regain his inheritance. He's famous for a story of walking by the beach and sort of speaking out loud as he heard the ocean roar next to him. And even, there's one story, he put a pebble in his mouth to be able to speak over that. I don't know, that sounds kind of silly, but he became a great orator, known as the best orator in Athens, the great city of ancient Greece. And he later was tied to a movement to resist, King Philip the Macedonian, the father of Alexander the Great, from conquering Athens. And he gave his speeches called the Philippics, where he's trying to stir up the people of Athens to not fall for, conquest by King Philip, later by Alexander the Great. Now here's some quotes from Demosthenes. To remind a man of the good turns you have done him is very much like a reproach. A man is his own easiest dupe, for what he wishes to be true, he generally believes to be true. And then he says, the facts speak for themselves. And that's kind of a famous phrase in Latin, res ipsa loquitur. Okay, then he says, good oratory is action, action, action. And there's an analogous quote where he says, the secret of oratory is delivery, delivery, delivery. Okay, and what's been said of Demosthenes as being a great orator was that when he spoke, it sort of came from his heart, from his very soul, from his spirit. And that's along the lines of a good orator has to be convinced of what they're saying before they say it if they're going to be able to convince the audience. And, you can go back to, what, I have a separate talk all about what Aristotle says about oratory and whatnot, but Demosthenes had a very commanding presence. He strongly believed in what he was saying. So the next one is one of his most famous quotes. There is only one safeguard known generally to the wise, which is to the advantage and security of all, but especially in democracies against despots. That is suspicion. Okay, and that's a very useful quote. And that's one of the reasons why the proles are such a bunch of chumps, is because they don't seem to be too concerned. They don't understand. They're being, sided, okay? It's like, what more has to happen to you before you wake up and realize that your water is messed up, your food supply is messed up, your air supply is messed up, your news information sources are messed up, your schools are messed up, your hospitals are messed up. How many more things have to be messed up? Your university system is messed up. Your churches are messed up. What more has to be messed up before you realize there's an active effort to, limit your numbers and get rid of you, okay? Smell the coffee. Okay, now I'm just going to show you a couple quotes by Edmund Burke. And people say, oh, Edmund Burke, he's so conservative. Let me tell you something about Edmund Burke. He's an Irish guy. The Irish guy are tired of being slaves of the British for 1,000 years, okay? Edmund Burke had a little position in England, but he was known as a brilliant orator and a great man. He's an Irish guy, okay? Irish is, the nation of slaves, okay? Just trying to keep their head above water, so give me a break. People try to act like he's this big, powerful guy. He's a freaking underdog, an Irishman. Okay, I'm just going to tell you a few quotes from Edmund Burke because they match with Demosthenes the same. So Demosthenes just emphasized the importance of suspicion and being skeptical. Edmund Burke says, there is no safety for honest men except by believing all possible evil of evil men. Yeah, you should always be skeptical and suspicious, okay, if you have a brain in your head. The latest line of BS that comes along, especially if it comes from some formally approved so-called expert. Almost all the experts from the big medical centers and from the big universities are bogus, okay, almost every single one of them. I would say from my experience, 95% of them are bogus. Whatever they're saying is probably not true. And they're just saying that to, take your money or turn you into a chump or something like that. They don't allow the truth in the modern universities. They're so bad. Okay. Edmund Burke continues, man is by design a religious animal. Atheism is not only against our reason, but it is against our instincts. Okay, so he knew back then atheism is the path to slavery and worse. Edmund Burke continues, old religious factions are like volcanoes burnt out. Yeah, you need to maintain your religion or your group goes extinct. Okay, that's just how it is. And if you don't like that, too bad. If you're an atheist, then life has no meaning, so you accept it already. Okay, Edmund Burke continues, despots rule by, force, and they don't like Christians because they know that he who fears God fears nothing else. Therefore, they eradicate God from his mind through their Voltaire. They'll use some fast-talking BS artist to try to, make the pros into atheists so they lose all their conviction and motivation and strength. Edmund Burke continues, when bad men combine, the good must associate, or else they will fall one by one in an unpitied sacrifice in a contemptible struggle. Yeah, Edmund Burke was smart. He predicted what was happening in France in the 1890s. Early and provident fear is the mother of safety. There you go, Edmund Burke. Thank you. Okay, back to Demosthenes. The three most important aspects of a speech are delivery, delivery, delivery. Okay. Let's see if we got any more Demosthenes. Well, I was just going to say, if you want to learn how to speak, watch the comedians. They're the best speakers and the motivational speakers. Great comedians walk around a lot making funny faces, dramatic gestures, big vocal tone changes like Sam Kinison, and it all adds the entertainment. And great motivational speakers also walk around a lot. As Cicero had said, a great orator is like an actor. So anyways, that was the quotes, especially of Demosthenes. I hope that was helpful.